Hi, I'm Llama Gucci from Ashijima's farm and you're watching Disney Channel.
Hi llamas. Yes, this is kuroken part 5. She finally put it out, I know, but I'm gonna be continuing this series and I hope to finish it. Just to not keep you guys hanging. I would suggest or strongly recommend you watch the previous part of this so you understand what's going on. I have put clips of the last video to refresh your memory, but I don't know how much you would get from that. But anyways, I hope you like this video. I know this was in demand, a lot of people asked for it, which was really surprising. But yeah, and thank you so much for all your support as always. Love you. Bye.
Everyone, Kenma is going to participate in the tryouts to see if he can play in our team. Whoa, Kenma's going to try out? Let's see what you've got, Kenma. You're back. Yeah, I am. He's here to be the team's manager. The coach's words sent a ripple through the gym. Whispers spread among the team as players exchanged curious glances and the man's gaze drifted back to Kuru. For those of you who don't know him, this is Shota Fujimura. He used to be on the team before his injury and from now on he'll be your manager. Make sure to welcome him back. When they finally did pull away, something shifted. Kenma looked up and realized they were still standing too close, barely inches apart. Kuru's face hovered right in front of him, their breaths mingling. Kenma's eyes locked with Kuru's and his heart skipped a beat. Has Kuru always looked this good? Oh god, what am I thinking? The tension was so thick it was suffocating. Kenma's pulse quickened and for a moment neither of them moved. Why is he looking at me like that? And why do I kind of like it? I wanted to clear the air. I know things ended badly, but we were good together, weren't we? Before everything went wrong? So they are exes. Kenma felt his chest tighten. I don't know what you expect me to say, Fujimura. It's over, it's been over. But you can't just pretend like nothing ever happened between us. We shared something real, didn't we? You threw that away. I didn't. Kuru's eyes flickered and for a split second they landed directly on Kenma's hiding spot. Kenma's heart froze. Kenma's breath hitched as Fujimura turned around, following Kuru's line of sight. Kuru's gaze landed on Kenma, wide-eyed and half-hidden, and his lips parted in surprise. For a second everything else went silent. The echo of Fujimura's voice, the weight of the conversation, it all fell away. Kenma panicked. He stepped out slowly, stiff and awkward, his mouth opening to say something, anything, but no words came out. His body moved on instinct, legs carrying him away from the vending machine and toward the gym like he hadn't just witnessed the most emotionally charged moment of Kuru's week. Kenma, wait. Fujimura blinked. Wait, what? You're leaving now? Kuru's eyes didn't leave Kenma's retreating figure. I have to go. He turned, but not before throwing one last glance at Fujimura over his shoulder. Whatever your plan is with showing up again as our team manager, I hope it's not about us. Because there is no us. There hasn't been for a long time. So get it through your head. Fujimura's expression shifted, eyes narrowing, jaw clenched. But he didn't say a word. Not fast enough. Kuru didn't wait for a reply. He was already moving. Kenma heard footsteps. They were getting closer. He didn't turn around. Not until Kuru caught up and gently touched his arm. Kenma. Kenma stopped back, still facing him. His throat felt tight, and when he finally turned around his voice was quiet. Sorry. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Kuru frowned, but Kenma kept going, eyes focused somewhere around Kuru's collarbone. I was just walking to the gym. I saw you with him and I don't know. I kind of panicked. It was dumb. There was a beat of silence between them, just long enough for Kenma to second guess saying anything at all. It's okay. Kenma blinked, looking up to meet his eyes. I just didn't expect you to be there. Kenma pressed his lips into a thin line, something churning behind his otherwise blank expression. You don't have to talk about it, but it looked tense. Kuru's jaw clenched and his gaze dropped to the pavement. He gave a bitter sort of laugh, just air through his nose, dry and humorless. What is there to talk about? Just a pest that keeps coming back. The air between them suddenly felt heavier. Kuru's words were harsh, but Kenma didn't push it. Kuru exhaled, then gave a quiet chuckle, breaking the silence. Without warning, he ruffled Kenma's hair. It was cute though. Huh? How you hid behind the vending machine. Kenma's face flushed instantly. Shut up, I'm not cute. You kinda are. Kuru smirked. You're like, pocket-sized, it's adorable. Kenma turned away with a scowl, but it was too soft to be convincing. They kept walking side by side, the tension now replaced with a strange warmth. Their hands brushed once, then again. Neither of them said a word, but Kenma noticed. The gym buzzed with noise, shoes squeaking, volleyball slamming against the floor, Lev yelling something completely unnecessary. Kenma was doing better today. His sets were cleaner, his feet moved faster, and even Yaku hadn't yelled at him yet. Not once. still he felt it. That gaze. From across the court, Shota Fujimura stood with a clipboard in hand scribbling notes, and watching him. It didn't feel friendly, but it didn't feel menacing either. It just felt like he was being observed, calculated, labeled, measured, and Kenma hated that more than anything. The fuck is he staring at? Kenma shook it off and focused on the next drill, this time paired with Kuru. They passed and joked between sets just like banter. Kuru teased him about getting slow and Kenma responded by deliberately setting the ball a little too high just to mess with him. Really? Is that your idea of revenge? I have no idea what you're talking about. Must be the wind. In a closed gym? Powerful wind. Kuru grinned. Ah, the Kazum Kenma signature cold front. I've heard legends. Kenma rolled his eyes but couldn't fight the small smile tugging at his lips. You're insufferable. Yet here you are, stuck with me. I'm re-evaluating my life choices every second. Make sure you start with that ball you just set into the stratosphere. You jumped too slow. Try aging in reverse. Kuru gasped, hand over his chest. What is this horrible flirting? Kenma looked up, his eyes widened to see Lev stand next to them with a volleyball and a big grin plastered on his face. We weren't. Kuru turned toward him with a scowl. Lev, shut up. What do you want? I need help practicing my blocks. Coach said I should ask you. Fine, I'll help you, just give me a minute. The smirk on Lev's face returned. No rush, I'll let you finish your flirting first. He winked and jogged off, giggling like a menace. Kenma turned away quickly, ears flushed red. Stupid Lev. Before Kenma could recover from the embarrassment, a shadow approached them. Am I interrupting something? The mood dropped several degrees. Kuru tensed, his eyes narrowed. Nope, just finished. Fujimura smiled. Good. Didn't want to ruin the, what did Lev call it? Flirting? Kenma felt his face burn all over again. Lev doesn't know what he's talking about. Sure he doesn't. What do you want? Kuru's reply was curt and to the point. One could feel the animosity in the air. You've ever been going hard. Thought I'd offer a towel. Kenma blinked as Shota handed him a towel. Thanks. Fujimura looked between the two of them like he was trying to study something behind their expressions. Kenma hated that look, the same one from earlier, like he was watching them and writing notes in his head. You two seem close. We are. The answer came fast, almost too fast. Kenma glanced at Kuru, surprised. Fujimura's smile faltered just a little, and for a brief moment Kenma felt it too, a quiet warmth blooming in his chest, like something had been claimed in front of him and for once it was him. That's nice. Must be good to have dependable teammates. Kenma shifted his weight, unsure if that was a genuine statement or another veiled jab. Maybe both. Yeah, it is. Especially when they actually stick around. Fujimura's smile thinned, tight, forced, but he said nothing. After a beat he turned back to Kenma, tilting his head with a faux friendly expression. Anyway, I didn't catch your name before. Really? After the almost 20 times my name was called out? Kenma. Kazum Kenma. Nice to meet you. I'll try to remember it. Kenma gave a short nod, unsure what to say. The way Shota said it made it sound like a subtle challenge, like he was daring him to be someone worth remembering. Kuru stood beside him, arms crossed, jaw tight. Kenma didn't have to look to know his mood had shifted. Well, I'm sure I'll be seeing a lot more of you. I hope not. I'm usually around. I figured you seem like the kind who sticks close. He glanced towards Kuru. Very loyal. Kuru chuckled lightly. What's so funny? It's funny hearing about loyalty from you. There was a beat of silence. Shota's eyes narrowed slightly, his smile faltering. All right, that's a wrap for today. A sharp whistle followed. The sound broke whatever quiet standoff had formed between the three of them. To celebrate the return of our new manager and the addition of our newest player, he gestured between Shota and Kenma. We're heading out for dinner. All of you, meet out front in 15. The gym buzzed with chatter and movement as players dispersed. Kuru's eyes lingered on Shota just a moment longer, then turned to Kenma. Stick close. Kenma gave a small nod, but his stomach twisted anyway. The restaurant was buzzing, a cozy spot with warm lights and polished wooden booths. The Nakoma team spilled around a long table near the back, voices overlapping, chopsticks clacking. Kenma slid into his seat quietly, only to feel the bench shift as Kuru plopped down right next to him. He nudged Kenma's shoulder. Called dibs, you're stuck with me tonight. Kenma smiled, rolling his eyes. Wasn't planning to run. Good, then I won't have to tackle you mid-noodle. Kenma let out a small breath, almost a laugh, and shook his head, eyes dropping to the menu mostly to avoid Kuru's grin. Kuru leaned in closer, making Kenma's heart almost skip a beat. You gonna make me pick your food again? Kenma cleared his throat, looking down at the menu. I'm capable of ordering. You say that, but last time you ordered plain rice and stared at my tempura like it betrayed you. Kenma gave him a light nudge back with his elbow. Maybe I was looking at it with disgust. Nah, that was definitely a look of desire. And how do you know that? Kyoryu quirked a smile, a mischievous look in his eyes. Because I'm real familiar with looking at things with desire. Kenma rolled his eyes, but the pink creeping up his ears gave him away. Shut up. Hit a nerve? Kenma turned his attention back to the menu, lips pressed in a thin line as he tried and failed not to smile. You're cute when you're defensive, you know that? Kenma didn't respond to that one, not verbally. He just shoved a piece of pickled radish in his mouth and refused to make eye contact. Kyoryu laughed quietly, pleased with himself. But then, something in Kenma shifted. His smile faded, not all at once but like a curtain being drawn inward. Subtle, slow. He wasn't looking at Kyoryu anymore. He was looking past him, across the table, where Shota sat still glowing at the center of a memory-laced conversation, tossing back jokes like he'd never left. Of course he chooses to sit right next to Kyoryu. Kenma's chopsticks stilled in his hand. Funny hearing you talk about loyalty. The tone, the edge in it, the way Shota's smile dropped. Kenma wasn't stupid. That wasn't just a jab. That was personal. He didn't know exactly what happened between them, but now, he was almost certain something did. And as Kyoryu reached across the table to grab a soy sauce bottle, Kenma's eyes lingered on the curve of his hand, his wrist, his laugh lines. And he hated the thought that someone else might know him just as well, or better. Table buzzed with overlapping stories and second-hand chaos. Plates clinked, drinks were passed around, and someone had already spilled soy sauce on the corner of the menu. Okay, wait, does anyone else remember when Shota slipped during stretches and nearly took down 3 freshmen like human dominoes? You mean the great warm-up wipeout of the year? I still have the video somewhere. You flailed like a drowning flamingo. I was trying to demonstrate momentum. You demonstrated gravity. The table burst into laughter, some members even mimicking the dramatic fall with their hands. It was the kind of memory that made people lean into each other, shared old familiar. Kenma twirled his chopsticks between his fingers, his appetite already waning. He felt Kyoryu shift beside him, casually reaching to refill Kenma's water without asking. Thanks, of course. Their arms touched briefly as Kyoryu passed him the cup. It was quiet, sweet, something Kenma might have noticed more if his eyes hadn't flicked across the table again. Fujimura was leaned and laughing with Yaku and tossing playful jabs at Lev with a fluency like he'd never left. And Kenma hated it. He hated how easily he made it look, like reinserting yourself into a space you'd abandoned was nothing, like you could still be wanted after walking away, like you could still know every inside joke, every story, every version of Kyoryu that maybe Kenma hadn't even met yet. Wait, remember that campfire night during the summer training trip? Oh yes, the horror movie night. Didn't Shota and Kyoryu get so scared they ended up sleeping in the same futon? Kyoryu literally made you check under his bed, bro. Fujimura laughed lightly, shoving Kyoryu's arm across the table. Kyoryu started it. He said that tree outside looked like it moved. Kyoryu smiled faintly, trying to imitate a laugh. A weak one at that. A few players cackled, especially Yamamoto. You two were like terrified toddlers. Kyoryu was clutching onto him like a stress ball. The table burst out laughing again, but this time Kenma noticed the way Kyoryu's shoulders tensed. So they were that close. That night sure was eventful. Fujimura's smile was still in place, but his eyes flicked over to Kyoryu with something a little too knowing. Kyoryu didn't look back. Kenma stayed quiet, chopsticks motionless in his bowl, but the laughter felt far away. I don't even want to imagine what might have happened that night. Damn Kyoryu, you haven't touched your kimchi. Oh, he can't stand fermented anything. Used to make this face like someone cursed his ancestors. The table laughed. Kyoryu didn't. He still remembers things like that. The small specific stuff, the things you only know when you've memorized someone's habits. It sat like a weight in Kenma's stomach. Kyoryu's gaze flicked toward him like he could feel Kenma overthinking across the table. Kenma looked away. After a while, Kyoryu had excused himself to use the bathroom, during which Fujimura took the chance to shift closer to Kenma. So Kenma, what do you do outside volleyball? I mostly play games. Fujimura's eyes lit up. Really? That's pretty cool, is it? Kenma was confused. Why was here talking to him? Yeah, figures though, you've got that low energy high IQ look. Kenma wasn't sure if that was a compliment, but he nodded. Any favorites? Kenma listed a few titles, his voice soft but steady. Fujimura kept leaning in, curious, maybe too curious. Sounds like you've gamed quite a lot, huh? I guess? Before the conversation could go further, Kyoryu suddenly leaned across the table, reaching for the soy sauce near Fujimura far too casually. Need anything, Kenma? Kenma looked at him. There was a quiet sharpness behind his eyes. I'm good. Kyoryu stayed leaned in for a beat too long, then settled back on the other side of Kenma. Fujimura clocked it, and he smirked. Then he leaned in a little closer to Kenma, lowering his voice just enough. Can we talk? Me? Yes. Kenma blinked, hesitated. What does he want? Then slowly he nodded. He turned to Kyoryu, avoiding his eyes. Kyoryu's brows furrowed, his hand pausing mid-reach for his drink. Where are you? Just wanted to have a little chat with him. That wouldn't be a problem, right? Fujimura but Kenma was already sliding out of the booth, following Fujimura toward the back exit of the restaurant. Kyoru sat frozen, the sounds of laughter and plates clattering around him suddenly muffled. He stared at the empty spot beside him, heart in his throat, unsure what had just happened, but already hating it. Across the table, Yaku watched silently. A piece of tofu paused halfway to his mouth. He didn't say anything, but his eyes flicked from the door where Fujimura and Kenma disappeared, back to Kyoru, and they narrowed, just slightly.
Oh, yeah.